Vine stood in the kitchen, preparing coffee for her husband and herself, as they promised each other a small date on every Sunday evening. Just the two of them in their luxurious living room, watching a movie or spending time together. Because Jungkook and Vine are both always busy in their work, so they decided to have a small date every week if they don't have time to go to a fancy restaurant and enjoy it. After preparing the coffee, she put it on the table and went to the back of their mansion to call Jungkook from the garden. She was about to go to him, but he saw a man sitting on his knees in front of Jungkook. She stopped right there, and the smile on her lips slowly disappeared. Vine felt a shiver run down her spine upon Jungkook's expressions that were so dangerous at the moment. Jungkook's eyes narrowed. So you're the one who's been feeding information to our rivals. Mr. Lee trembled. Please, Jungkook. I was desperate. I needed the money. Jungkook sneered. Desperate? You call betraying me and my family desperate, even when you knew what's the price for betraying me? Vine watched in horror as Jungkook's expression turned darker. She knew this was part of his job, but she had never seen it up close. Please, Jungkook, have mercy, Mr. Lee begged, falling to his knees. Jungkook's laughter sent chills down Vine's spine. Mercy? You should have thought of that before you betrayed me. With a swift motion, Jungkook pulled out his gun and shot him in the head. Vine suddenly screamed, covering her mouth in shock. Her whole body was visibly shaking as she covered her ears with her palms and looked down. Jungkook turned to her. His eyes widened as soon as he saw Vine. Jungkook handed the gun to his man and ran towards her. Vine, Vine, look at me, he said as he held her hands that were on her ears, trying to move them, but she stayed tight. She was so scared and shocked of the gunshot, she got frozen at her place. Jungkook, fine, it's fine now. I'm here. Look at me. And he kept whispering supportive words in her ears until she was finally calmed and came to senses. She was aware of where she was standing and who was standing beside her. She slowly looked up at him and immediately took a step back. Vine felt like she was staring at a stranger. She knew Jungkook was a Mafia king, but seeing him kill someone in front of her in the blink of an eye was a harsh reality check. Jungkook's heart shattered when he saw her being scared of himself. He never imagined this day, nor does he want to. Fine. Listen to me, he said as he slowly took a step towards her to reassure her of her safety. But she turned away. Fine. Jungkook, I need some time, she stammered, running out of the garden without letting him talk, without letting him explain. What would he even explain? She knew all about it. Jungkook's expression softened and he followed her. Fine. Please understand. But Vine was already gone, locking herself in their bedroom. Jungkook stood outside, feeling a pang of guilt and worry. Vine wrapped herself inside a blanket. The sound of the gunshot made her ears beep, and it wasn't stopping. Mr. Lee was like a family for both of them. She couldn't imagine that a man who was just with her moments ago, laughing, doing her work, was being shot right in front of her. She couldn't believe the fact that he will no longer be able to walk, talk, or laugh with them. People get killed daily, but you don't care until it's someone from your family. Jungkook, I know you need time, Wine, but right now, I cannot leave you alone. Now that I know that you're scared, being scared is the one thing that I don't want you to feel as long as I am alive. So hate me all you want, but I'm coming inside. Because believe it or not, you need someone right now. You need me. I don't know what's right or wrong. I will do what my heart tells me to do. He opened the door from the master key and saw her completely wrapped inside the blanket. His heart broke into pieces. He went to her and slowly tried to move away the blanket from her face. He looked at her face and she was crying. He gently wiped her tears away and whispered, Fine, I am here. I won't let anything hurt you. Fine, without looking at him, said with her teary eyes, Why did you have to kill him? He was so nice to us. Her voice trembled as she spoke. Jungkook's eyes softened. He leaned in to give her a side hug, his touch gentle and polite. Jungkook, I hate to break it to you, but you know why he was so nice to us? Fine. Because he was such a nice person. And you brutally. She still couldn't believe something like that happened. She cried miserably while speaking. Jungkook, he did that to gain our trust, to make sure that we don't kick him out of our house, so that he can keep selling information to our enemies, and one day attack us in the dark. Vine slowly tried to look at him, his eyes filled with sincerity and honesty. She couldn't believe it was the truth. Is this how betrayal feels like? Even if he told her the truth, she can't imagine the traitor behind that smiling and innocent face that she remembers of him. She shook her head in denial. This isn't the truth, right? You're only saying that to cover up for what you did. Jungkook smiled and squeezed her shoulder. Why else would I kill him, huh? You know how much I trusted him as well. I even left him with you alone in the house. I just can't imagine. But if he did something. Jungkook stopped as he looked at Vine, her tears finally coming to a break. Jungkook, I had to do this because if I didn't, something would have definitely happened to both of us. Vine, can't I trust anyone in the world? Why did he have to do this to us? Jungkook, you can trust me. Jungkook's soft voice made her look at him. I will never break your trust. She looked in his eyes for some seconds before hugging him back. She fell in his embrace and started crying again. Being scared was a different thing. She was more shocked right now. All of this all together was too much for her. She just needed a shoulder to cry on. And Jungkook provided that to her. Not just now, but at every walk of life. He patted her back and said, Vine, I know what you saw was harsh, but I promise to always protect you. I will do whatever it takes to make you feel safe again. Vine looked at him, her eyes still haunted. I know you will, Jungkook, but can you promise me one thing? Anything, he replied, his voice filled with desperation. Promise me you will never kill someone innocent. Vine said, her voice barely above a whisper. Jungkook's face contorted in pain. I promise, Vine. I never did it, and I'll never do it in the future as well. That's my promise to you. Vine nodded, and Jungkook wrapped his arms around her, holding her close. It took time, but slowly, Vine began to accept the reality, and their love blossomed again. As they sat on their bed, holding hands, Jungkook turned to her. You know, Vine, I never thought I'd find someone who loves me despite my flaws. Vine smiled, her eyes shining with love. I never thought I'd find someone who will cross every limit to protect me. They leaned in for a kiss, which was filled with emotions, passion towards each other despite the flaws, love for each other, acceptance, and the sadness of betrayal. A tear fell from Vine's eye as she closed her eyes, trying not to think about the dead man and his betrayal. As their kiss deepened, they both knew their love was strong enough to overcome even the darkest of realities.